Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Undead Gaming cast. I'm your host, Rob, the Undead Gamer, and this is a monthly podcast in which myself and a few of my good friends talk about video games, the industry, and anything and all things nerd related. Just before I introduce everyone to the podcast, I just want to give you guys a little bit of information of where you can find this podcast. Obviously, this podcast can be found on YouTube in the form of a viral video. If you just on my channel, if you search for youtube.com/the undead user/the undead gamer, you can find the cast there. And hopefully in the near future, obviously when more information is available, we'll tell you. But hopefully we'll be able to find this on iTunes if you search the podcast section for the Undead Cast, Undead Gaming Cast rather. And hopefully you'll be able to listen to us on your travels. So, without further ado, let me introduce our guest for today, or today's hosts with the mosts, Mr. Nick Wybrow. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Obviously, Nick is on YouTube himself with his channel ZexiAMV, but I think he's probably appeared on my channel more than he has his own channel. I can't seem to get rid of you on my channel. You'll probably be recognising Nick's voice from our sadly deceased Final Fantasy XI Let's Play.
Died a bit.
Oh dear. Oh well. And joining us also is the very sexy Mr. Ashton Vautier.
Why, thank you very much. Hello there.
How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, very well. Good. Okay, well, now we've said hello and welcomed everyone. I'm just going to give you guys a little rundown on how this podcast will sort of work, just for future reference. So, first things first, we'll start off by asking everyone what they've been playing and what they've been up to recently with video games and stuff, what they've been enjoying. Then we'll move on to our main sort of topics of discussion about stuff, games or the industry, whatever, and then we'll finish up the podcast with next month's releases. So, let's start things off. Nick, what have you been playing recently?
I've been playing. Ooh, what have I been? I've been playing Titanfall.
Okay.
Oh.
PC. Yeah, that's really good. It's probably the best shooter I've played in a while. In a long
Is it
time.
like COD?
Is it like COD? Oh, I'd like to say it's a bit like Modern Warfare 2
Oh, right, okay.
in terms of like like main shooting gameplay.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's like Halo Reach, just a bit.
Okay.
Everything's a bit overpowered. Everything's a bit crazy. But yeah, but it's really good. I've been enjoying it.
Did you play the beta of Titanfall?
Yeah,
or
I played the beta.
okay, and you're playing it now on PC, presumably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good.
Cool. Can you see yourself playing it for a long period of time, or?
Yeah, I hope I can. I mean, the only other shooters I've played for a long time is probably Halo and Gears of War, but that's because
Yeah.
I had loads of friends to play with. But this only have a couple of people who aren't always on it. But it is really good, so I have to see
Yeah.
about that.
How do you feel? Because obviously Titanfall did something kind of, I don't think it's been done before, especially in a first-person shooter. Because obviously Titanfall's just a player versus player multiplayer
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
but it's got a storyline, and you kind of do that storyline through the multiplayer. Like
Yeah, I mean,
how's
it
that
isn't a
worked?
strong storyline. If you've ever played Unreal Tournament, it's a bit like that. You just get thrown into these
Situations.
yeah, and then they add on the storyline after. It seems.
So
Okay.
it's just like in-game kind of whilst it's happening.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and I don't know how many maps there are in the actual game. I think I've played about 11, but in the campaign you play 9 of the maps. So yeah, it gets you to grips with the game.
Cool.
Alright.
Good.
Is there much customization, or like do you feel there's like
I-
sort of
I
roles
feel-
people play?
I feel there could be more customization on the Titans because you only really choose the sort of
Weapon
there's
and power
three-
up or something.
there's like you choose an ogre, an atlas, or this other type, which is like a fast one.
The
And like
run
one
one.
of them's like a tank, one of them's like medium, one of them's really fast. But I wish you could like just change the Titan a bit, customize that. That would be great.
Oh, can you not do anything to the Titan apart from choose it?
You could choose the gun, and you choose like a couple of abilities, but I wish you could like choose parts
Yeah.
and do colouring and.
So can you your outfits and your time? Can you not do anything to what you look like?
No. There's only really 3 set ones
Uh,
you get to
that's a
choose from.
shame.
But I suppose because something like that, especially I suppose nowadays in gaming, especially with not that I'm condoning anything Call of Duty does because I think it's a terrible game, but with regards to things like Black Ops where you can sort of you can customize your character. I mean, I think anyway. I'm probably totally wrong. Um, but like presumably you think nowadays in gaming where there is so much customization in video games and things that you can do that you kind of expect it to be an available option
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
Titanfall.
I
So,
think it went into that age, and now it's going back out of it, which I think is better because
mm.
every game sort of went in that direction.
But
It's
it
good
might,
though.
yeah. I mean, it might be to a point where it kind of boils down to the argument of like graphics. How just because a game's got amazing graphics doesn't make it a phenomenal game. It's like some games have got rather crappy graphics, but their gameplay is phenomenal, and it's a really fun game to play. I suppose they've focused on trying to make a new shooter something different, and I suppose try to evolve the genre because I think it needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I suppose not sort of focusing on customization and things that might come later on in updates and things like that. They've tried to focus on giving you a good multiplayer experience, a good shooting experience with something a bit different to what's already on the market and has been on the market for years because everything's just been a Call of Duty clone, and give you
yeah,
something unique, I suppose.
yeah. Well, it's probably the best shooter I've played for a while because it reminds me of Halo 3 and Gears of War. Just it's a bit more simple, but
Yeah,
it's not boring.
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
cool. Is there
Yeah.
anything else you've been playing recently, or
Huh?
or do you want to say anything more on Titanfall?
Time for buy it. That's about it.
Fair enough.
Sweet.
Been up to anything else, Nick? Anything else you've been
Uh,
playing?
um, I haven't been playing it, but I watched the free-to-play Valve documentary on Dota, which was pretty interesting. 'Cause
Okay.
I played Dota for a while last summer, and I got quite into it, but my computer broke, so I fell out of it. But yeah, interesting documentary on Dota and free-to-play gaming and everything. It's good.
I started playing Dota a while ago. I only literally did the like the introductory
Oh yeah.
mission, and like I was playing it like the very start, but then I was like, it looks a bit like Diablo, and then I just went straight back onto Diablo. Kind of thing. So,
It's quite strange because the tutorial isn't representative of the game at all. Like
wasn't it?
I had no idea. Like I played it. I thought it was going to be like a Diablo type game, and then it turns out to be something completely different, and it's quite strange. But yeah,
Is it like a lot to do with tactics, or is it just like a hack and slash?
it's a lot to do with tactics. It's very just strategic and yeah, it's just
I mean, Dota's a MOBA, isn't it?
yeah.
So
I need to make
it's
sure.
kind of compared to sort of I suppose the hardcore version of League of Legends.
Yeah,
In that sense, a lot of people call it sort of the better version or the more hardcore version. I mean, I'm not a fan of MOBAs anyway. I just can't get into them. I don't see. I don't know. It just doesn't
I,
interest me.
I like it, but I've always liked competitive games. I've always
Yeah.
when I played Halo, I used to play like the MLG playlist all the time. Gears of War, I used to play MLG settings.
Mm.
Yeah,
I suppose it's just that different style of gameplay.
Mm.
yeah. That's about it for me.
Cool. So Ashton, what have you been up to playing recently?
Well, I haven't really played anything new recently. I've at the moment, I'm just going through the God of War games, like start to finish kind of thing.
Have you got the HD?
The the set, the
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
got the the Saga, I think it's called. um, yeah, I'm only on the second one at the moment, but like it's just such an easy game to just pick up and play. Like you don't really have to like know much about the story. You can just go in and just
Mm.
kill some random stuff.
Which is just hack and slash, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Do love a
I
good
know a while ago I was playing Diablo, like I said before, and like
Is that
it's
Diablo 3, or have you
three.
been playing the
Yeah.
retro versions?
Oh, I wish I'd played the retro. It's such a good. Yeah, like it's good. Like it's just I love the game so much, but it gets so repetitive. It's kind of
Have you been playing PC? Sorry, have you been playing the PC version or the
no
PS3 version?
PS3
Yeah,
version.
yeah,
Yeah, which it's pretty good considering it's like a console. Um, I'm so happy they uh, changed it to a console version because my PC just would not run it.
yeah.
So yeah, it's such a good game. I went through it, played it with my brother actually, and after a while, it's just kind of like a bit tedious, and the only thing you're holding on to is the storyline. Um, but it's a very good game for just like kind of picking up and doing, sitting down and just playing.
Has it got much replayability though? Can like once you've done the story, is it?
It's because like the places are like randomly generated, so
Yeah.
it gives like a little bit of kind of, oh, I haven't been here before, but ultimately you're just fighting the same things again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you can't really. It's like, I don't know, like a game like Skyrim, you can go in and do hundreds and thousands of times. You can just jump in and do completely different way through it. But with Diablo, it's all hack and slash. There's no tactics really about it. It's all just power, kill, 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 kill. So
But it's not I suppose Diablo and Diablo style games are a very they're a subsect of RPGs
yeah, I
in
suppose
that,
so.
because it's just a dungeon crawl
Yeah,
essentially. So
it is like
unfortunately, I
really
suppose it does
fun.
get repetitive in that sense.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, it's such a fun game.
Mm.
I enjoy it so much, but it's just not the kind of thing that you can say, "Oh, game of the year," because it just it
Yeah,
doesn't have those qualities. Fantastic game.
cool, cool. Anything else you've been up to playing?
I don't know. I've kind of just been going through old games at the moment, like going through the Bioshock series,
Hey,
which is yeah, that is fantastic. I'm still yet to play the newest one. What's it called?
Infinite.
Yeah.
Oh
It
God,
looks so good, but I
I
want
haven't
to go
got
through.
enough. I haven't got enough nice things to say about that game. Like it,
Anyone that have played.
and it's just so sad because recently this month, Infinite Game, no, Irrational Games. Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
Irrational Games have sadly disbanded, which makes me very sad.
yeah.
But
There's a couple of people left, aren't there? And they're working on something else.
yeah, I mean, it's basically Ken Levine, who runs Irrational Games, has basically disbanded the company. He's given the rights to Bioshock over to 2K, who are Irrational Games publishers, which I'm kind of fine with, and
Yeah. Oh,
because it was 2K Games, 2K Marine, who are now a disbanded developer, which I believe were Australia's section of 2K. They created Bioshock 2 along with some people from the original team who made Bioshock 1. And in my opinion, and for quite a few fans' opinions, it was a brilliant game. It was a really good game.
yeah. True.
It wasn't as good as Bioshock 1, but in many ways I prefer the gameplay and the mechanics. I think they made them a lot better in Bioshock 2. But anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, Ken Levine has left, or has kind of disbanded it. I'm not sure if they're still going as Irrational Games, but he's basically making a very small team of like 15 to 20 people that can just sort of focus on very story-driven games. So
Yeah, I look forward to seeing those games.
yeah, no, I do as well. I do as well. And
Yeah,
I
it's
do look forward to seeing what 2K can do with Bioshock
yeah,
franchise as well.
it's a shame that happened, but you know there's going to be some great games out of it. So
Definitely. I mean, I think Ken Levine is a brilliant brilliant developer in the industry. So yeah,
it's a bit like I think probably one of my favorite things about the Bioshock games is the fact that they're so different. Like you don't get it's like the CODs that they come out and it's effectively the same game every year.
yeah,
But with Bioshock, there was no one game then the next part of the story kind of thing because it was just like from a different person. It's a completely new character. And it's
yeah.
just
I mean,
oh,
even with Bioshock 2, that was set in Rapture again, like the first game, but it was
Big Daddy.
it was kind of a bit of a big departure, yeah, because of the gameplay. You were playing a Big Daddy, so you were playing a completely different person, a different side of the story, I suppose, of Rapture, and you were playing in completely different sections of Rapture. You were seeing more of Rapture and more of uh, the other things and the other like uh, the other things that kind of led up to the demise of Rapture,
Mm.
which was cool.
I think
So
that's the problem with like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed releasing a game every year now, and
Yeah.
like,
Well, Assassin's Creed are releasing 2 games this year.
yeah, that's ridiculous.
really?
Yeah, they're releasing one I think that's called Assassin's Creed Unity,
Yeah,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is set I
Revolution.
believe in during the French Revolution, and that's going
Yeah.
to be for Xbox One and PS4.
Oh
And
yeah.
then they're releasing one for the old gen, so 360 and PS3.
Okay. And I'm guessing that's going to be like the Assassin's Creed games that no one's really heard of. The ones that were like
Oh, like Liberation and that.
yeah
Yeah,
those ones. Going to
yeah,
be some I'm guessing.
yeah.
But like I think I'm getting a bit bored of the Assassin's Creed. I love them. I love the game so much, but it's just too much now. Like at the moment, I haven't played Black Flag, so I can't really comment on that. But Assassin's Creed 3, I'm not I'm not too keen on it because there is too much kind of thing. It's like a game where you can go around and do whatever, and there can never be too much because you can focus on one thing. But with Assassin's Creed, like there is too much, but you have to focus on something kind of thing. So it's like
Mm.
I don't know what it is about it, but I'm just losing interest. I'm losing it because the old games were just so simple, and now it's just
That's the thing. When you've got a game like that, and this goes for the same with COD and things like that. There's only so much you can do in a year of development.
mm,
Um,
Yeah.
and there's only so much you can change, and it's only now only and this is only rumor due to the screenshots of Unity that have been released, um, that they're now changing or developing on the parkour mechanics that are in the game. Um, they're improving on them or doing whatever. But how many Assassin's Creed games has it been?
Well,
well, I suppose they
And
did change them up a little bit in 3.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I think three was a step forward. It was just a shame that the game was a bit crap.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean the only thing that I can't comment really on Assassin's Creed only from what I see because I've only played the first game and after that kind of lost interest a little bit. Um, but the only thing that I always hear is brilliant about Black Flag is, and the only thing that kind of enticed me to play it because I think everyone wants a good Pirates of the Caribbean game, and I think that's possibly as close as we'll ever get.
Yeah.
But one thing that interests everyone, as everyone said, was great about Assassin's Creed 3, and that what they were glad they brought over to Assassin's Creed 4 was the ship battles, and that mechanic. So I guess it was kind of inevitable that we would have a pirate version of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, which is good, but then it wasn't really an Assassin's game. It wasn't Assassin's Creed. It was just like Pirates Creed or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I suppose it just falters in other aspects of its mechanics and gameplay. which
Yeah, I
is
mean,
is sad because it's repetitive.
yeah, it does get very repetitive.
I don't really
It,
know what they're doing with the story, if I'm honest.
yeah,
Yeah,
because obviously now the whole Desmond thing's done with, isn't it? And
done
it's
with, and I didn't really execute it that well after
yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2.
I mean, I think it had a good potential to be like a really great main trilogy, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah, if they made a
And
trilogy, that would be great.
it would have been had they taken more time over it. And I still think they should.
yeah, which
I
is a shame
still think, and this goes for the same with Call of Duty. I think if they take the time to not do a yearly release, take a year
Yeah.
out, develop it for 2 years, develop it for 3 years. I think if they take the time, really focus on it, they could make really phenomenal AAA games.
yeah,
I suppose it's just down to, you know, release a game, get a lot of money for it, which is
yeah.
Yeah,
fair enough, really.
Good.
Like,
that's all it
They
is.
did it while they could, and
Yeah,
I think now people are realizing that it is finally realizing that it is sort of like the same every year, and they're not going to get away with it as
it
much
is.
now.
I mean, how much can you change in a year? You can't.
You can't. It hasn't
You
changed really.
can't.
It's just tweaks.
It's
Just like
just
the PC
been
game.
slightly reskinned. All it does is it gets released, goes back into the shop, has a little bit of maintenance done, has a little bit of Botox done, has a little bit of change in sort of scenery and sort of costume design and things like that, and oh, instead of vast wilderness of North America, let's put the sea in there and some Caribbean islands. I mean, I'm not saying that's easy to do because obviously I'm not a game developer, but all it is just a reskin. That they don't do a lot.
I suppose when you think about it, what games aren't a reskin?
Games that
Yeah.
are in development for a lot longer than a year.
Yeah,
There is more about them. I mean, Assassin's Creed 1, 2007, Assassin's Creed 2 was like 2009 or 2010. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
and that is the game that they say is the best out of the series is Assassin's Creed 2, and that's because they
I really
took the
like that.
time to develop it and see what they did right and what they did wrong or what was a bit boring from Assassin's Creed 1 and improve on it and make it better for Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah.
Speaking of reskinning a game, what do you guys think of that Lord of the Rings games that looked exactly like Assassin's Creed?
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Great.
Shadows of Mordor. This is the bane of my existence, guys. Crappy Lord of the Rings games. I mean, well, to be fair, we've not been as worse off as we could be, I suppose.
There's been some good games actually.
The Moon
Definitely.
game I really like, and Battle for Middle Earth. Oh, incredible.
Yeah. I mean, me and Nick are probably in the same boat. I don't know about you, Ashton, but me and Nick and myself are massive Lord of the Rings fans. And
Fan, but not massive.
yeah. I mean, personally, I think the movie license games weren't that bad. They're pretty good. I mean,
They're probably shit now.
yeah, but they were good. They're good hack and slash games.
back in the day, they
Yeah.
were good.
I think the only great games that Lord of the Rings games that we've had have been Lord of the Rings Third Age,
Yes.
because I think that was a brilliant RPG.
Yeah.
That was a very good game.
Lord of the Rings War in the North,
Yes.
a little bit of a repetitive game and a little bit of a hack and slash, but something new, something interesting to
Short
do.
storyline though.
And I agree with you, Nick. Battle for Middle Earth too.
Middle Earth, I love it.
Yeah,
Love that.
it's good RTS. But there's games that could have been better, like Lord of the Rings Conquest, which was made by Pandemic, who were the creators
I really
of
liked it.
Battlefront.
I
I
loved
like it as well. Don't get me wrong, but I think they did a Star Wars Battlefront 1. You know how there was Star Wars Battlefront 1, then they released Battlefront 2, and that was like vastly superior and better
Yeah.
to Battlefront 1. I think they've just made a Battlefront 1, but with Lord of the Rings, because it could have been so much better. You could have had aerial combat. You could have been on a Nazgul. You could have been a Nazgul flying on a fell beast,
Yeah.
attacking eagles and things like that. You know.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It really is.
But
So
a
much
good
they
game.
can do, but they haven't done.
Exactly. I mean, I've been looking. What I want out of the Lord of the Rings games is a massive open world, RPG. I basically want Skyrim, but set in Middle Earth.
That would be
That's
That would
basically what I want.
very, very good.
Because there's so much they could do with it. There's so much lore. There's so many time frames you could set it in, and all this. And you know, I mean,
I don't see why it hasn't been done yet.
exactly. I don't understand how it hasn't been.
Like Pokemon MMO. Why hasn't
Yeah.
that been done?
Yeah.
See, I don't really mind games that like do things like that. Like games that like for instance, if I was a massive Assassin's Creed fan, I like it, but it's not like the best thing in the world. If I was a massive Assassin's Creed fan, I would love it if they had Assassin's Creed, but in the Lord of the Rings world kind of thing. Like what
I
they
mean,
are doing.
that's what Shadows of Mordor kind of looks like. It's definitely got some interesting ideas, and it looks good.
Yeah.
I
Just hope they pull
and
it off.
I do like that it's something new because it's set in between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. I mean, there's a few things that could go wrong story-wise in that because you're in Mordor and you're kind of taking out revenge on Sauron a little bit. But obviously, as we know, and I'm not sure how they're going to deal with it, that storyline or that vendetta can't be fully finished. That can't come full circle because obviously we know that this character isn't going to kill Sauron.
Yeah.
Isn't going to take out his full revenge on Sauron because a hobbit kills Sauron 60 years later or so.
Yeah.
You know,
Frodo
so
Baggins.
yeah, but also, and the combat, obviously, yes, it looks like an Assassin's Creed game, which I'm not entirely happy about. I'm not sure if that is going to fit in the world of Middle Earth.
Oh shit! Sorry guys, I just spilt water all over my keyboard.
Okay. And obviously the melee combat looks very reminiscent of the Batman Arkham games. But then you've got that Nemesis system, which looks quite interesting.
That does actually look quite cool.
Hmm.
I suppose it's kind of like just a. You can't really say it's not classic Lord of the Rings because there never has been a classic Lord of the Rings game. They've always changed their style. Like the Third Age was completely different to any of the other games.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think it's good that it's not called itself Lord of the Rings and then subtitle here.
Yeah, that's good.
It's good. It's called Middle Earth, Shadows of Mordor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not being put under the banner of Lord of the Rings games, which is good. Which means it can expand.
Yeah,
I suppose because it's set itself in between the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. So
yeah, I like that
There's
because
potential
Lord
to
of
be
the Rings is
good.
the only thing that could be done with Tolkien.
yeah, just give me Skyrim, Lord of the Rings. Just give me Skyrim, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
God damn it.
So good.
Just give me that. I'll be happy. I'll be happy forever. I won't ask anything else of you, gaming industry. I swear to God. I will let you, and I won't even complain about crappy Call of Duty games. I promise. Just give me Skyrim and Lord of the Rings. So, is that all you've been up to this week or recently, Ashton?
Well, gone full circle back from.
Eventually, we'll get back on topic.
Yeah, apart from like dabbling on like little things like Minecraft.
No, that's fine. That's cool. No worries.
What about you? What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Well, obviously this month I played one of the Elder Scrolls Online betas.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't play the most recent one because I forgot to fill in the survey for the last one, so I didn't get invited back. I don't know if you played that, because it was only a couple of weeks ago. Nick,
No, I didn't.
I wasn't aware that there was another one.
you obviously didn't do the survey because you would have got invited back. So yeah, I've been playing that, but obviously we can talk about that a little bit later on. I've also been continuing my playthrough of Fallout 3, which I'm really enjoying. Because I've only fairly recently got that game. I got that game in January.
Oh, yeah.
Very good game.
I've never played it. I've been meaning to, but
Yeah, it's a really good game. It's a really good game.
It's like Skyrim, but like futuristic.
Oh God, no! Because this is the thing
It
that
is,
put
it
me.
is.
It's not. It is and it isn't. Hang on. Let me explain. because this is one of the things that put me off Fallout 3 when it was released, because at the time I was heavily into Oblivion,
Yeah.
and I fucking love that game. It's one of my favourite RPGs, Oblivion.
Yeah.
And people were saying, "Oh, it's just Oblivion with guns," and I was like, "Right, well, fuck that," because I'm not massively into sci-fi games as well. Sci-fi doesn't interest me. If I want to play a game, I'm more heavily influenced by the fantasy genre as opposed to science fiction.
Yeah.
But this is one science fiction world that has really kept my interest. It's like I tried to play Mass Effect. Don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant game, and I really enjoy aspects of it, and I think more RPGs should do similar things, but it just didn't hold my interest because I'm not into space and sci-fi. So, but Fallout has really held my interest. I'm so interested in the lore behind it, because I'm a massive lore... Excuse me, I've just burped. I'm massively into lore, and I love all those backstories and how things came to be, and like how this world became this post-apocalyptic world interests me a lot. So I'm loving it. But there are a lot of mechanics that are very different to Oblivion, and that are solely to do with Fallout. But then there's a lot of things that Skyrim has taken from from Fallout, and improved on. And so I don't think it's fair to say it's just Skyrim with guns or Oblivion with guns.
That's true. Yeah.
I think they're very different. But being Bethesda games, they all lend things to each other. Because obviously the pick locking in Oblivion was awful, in my opinion. It was done a lot better in Fallout 3, and that carried on to Skyrim, which is good, and it works.
I suppose that they know what makes a good game, kind of thing, and they're just kind of whacking them all in. And
do you know why? Because Bethesda take a long time to develop their games. You'd never see Elder Scrolls yearly releases with the amount of shit. I mean, I know it's vastly different to Call of Duty, but you know, it just wouldn't happen.
It would be terrible.
Because Bethesda actually make good games. Oh, I went there. Did I just go there? I'm sorry. Come at me, internet. Come at me. I dare you. But yeah, so I've been playing Fallout 3, really enjoying it. I got the Game of the Year edition as well, because you kind of have to at this point. But I've not even entertained the expansions or the DLC and stuff yet. So still got loads to play of that.
Good.
The only thing I'm not enjoying in Fallout 3 is the karma system.
What's that?
The game's got a karma system where it's basically you get good karma points for doing good things and saving people and making nice person decisions, and then you get bad karma for being an evil bastard, basically, and killing people that should be killed. And that's great and all, and I love those systems in the game because it means you can really do what you want with it and be who you want to be.
It indulges you in the game. You kind of you think I really shouldn't do that kind of thing. So
it kind of puts your own morality at stake, I suppose, and you know, I like it. It's good, but there's no grey area with the karma system. It's all very black and white.
That's true.
It's either you do something good or you do something bad, and there's been many occasions in many quests where I felt, hang on, I can do this and I can do that, and that's good and that's bad, but why can't I do this and kind of be in between and get best of both worlds and try and make everyone happy?
A bit like Fable, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially. There's been two occasions, and I'll give you guys an example, probably the best example, where basically there's this place in the game called Tenpenny Tower.
Yeah.
And it's run by this sort of rich white guy who's done pretty well for himself out of the capital wasteland. And, you know, and in this tower, it's just a tower block of apartments, and basically the rich people live there. People who have got a load of money, aren't tainted by anything like mutations or any radiation and things like that. They're sort of, you know, sort of perfect upper class bastard people who don't want for anything because they've got everything. And basically, so they're living the high life in the wasteland. But then there's a group of ghouls. Now, ghouls are basically just humans who have suffered a lot of radiation sickness, and they've been mutated, and they basically look like zombies, but they're not zombies. They're fully functioning normal human beings who just look like the undead. And they basically want to live at Tenpenny Tower. Not to cause any trouble, but because why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they want for a better life for themselves, like these people who live there? So I get into Tenpenny Tower, and they're basically saying, "Oh, these ghouls are trying to get in. They're nasty people. They're gonna make everything dirty, and they're just mindless zombies, and they're horrible people. Why should we want them in living here? How terrible would that be?" sort of thing. And then you go to meet the ghouls who are living nearby in an underground metro station, a disused underground metro station. So obviously they're living in dirty squalor. And they're like, why shouldn't we want better for ourselves? We're just people like them, but we look like zombies. That's literally it. We're not dirty. We're not horrible people. We just look disgusting. Why shouldn't we want for a better life? Why aren't we allowed that? So basically, there's people in Tenpenny Tower who you can convince to... You talk to the Tenpenny Tower guy who owns it, and he's basically, okay, I'll let the ghouls live here if you can convince these people. So you go about convincing some of these people. Some of the people are like, yeah, hell, why not? They're just people too. They just want better life. I don't care. I wouldn't mind if they were my neighbours. That's fine. Then there's people that you can't convince, who are very difficult to convince, and you kind of have to be sneaky about convincing them and kind of maybe not do the nicest thing to try and convince them. And you do that, and then that's all well and good, but you basically boils down to you can't convince these people. You can't convince these people. So the only option is to get rid of the ghouls because they're a nuisance. So you have to kill the ghouls, so then they will stop bothering the people. But I don't want to do that, because why shouldn't they live in this nice place? So I go to the ghouls, I talk to the ghouls, and basically they're like, you just need to get us in. If you can get us in, we'll just live there, we'll take it over, basically. And that's not an option, because, to me anyway, because there's people in there who, are arseholes and ignorant people who, probably don't deserve to live because they're ignorant. But then there's people there who are nice people and who would welcome these people in, but the ghouls will kill them just to get into the tower. So there's no sort of grey option where I can make both parties happy and convince both parties that they're just people. Just because they look disgusting, they're just people. And hey, you can live there. So in the end, because I kind of sympathised more with the people at the Tenpenny Tower, I sympathised more with the people who were more accepting. Why should they die because of everyone else's ignorance? I kind of killed the ghouls just to complete the quest. I didn't feel right about it, but it annoyed me. There's no grey area.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
So annoying when something like that happens. You're just like, all I want to do is just leave the mission, but there's that annoying little icon which is like,
exactly. I mean, there's essentially what a lot of the quests there boil down to is you can think up different ways to tackle the situation. You can talk to all these people in attempt to do what you want to do, but what it boils down to is being a good guy or being a bad guy. Or killing these people and letting these people live, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, but I'm really enjoying the game.
I quite like it. If saying a game like that, when you could literally leave the mission, and then like something would happen without you doing anything.
Yeah.
I think so. Next time you go back, either the ghouls are all living in that tower now, or they're all dead, kind of thing. So someone else has come along and done something.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like choose not to intervene and then just see the outcome. That'd be interesting to.
Yeah, but I don't think the game has that sort of AI.
No, I know. I mean, like in a future game like that.
Oh yeah, God yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to see in Fallout 4, for example, where if you chose to not intervene, if you think, well, there's no way out of this, you guys sort it out. It'd be nice to see that, yeah, if you just left it, they would sort it out and see what would happen if you go back, you know? Yeah.
Is there a Fallout 4 announced?
Sorry?
Is there a Fallout 4 announced?
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
It's
Bethesda
rumored.
have announced it in a way.
Wait.
Yeah, it's not official. I don't know. It is and it isn't official. In December, there was a hoax website made by someone in Poland, I think, and it was teasing Fallout 4. But then Bethesda came forward finally after letting it brew there for like a month and said that site's a hoax. It's not real. And then a couple of weeks later, a a voice acting audition script was leaked. It was given to Kotaku, who are a gaming news website, stating it was basically an audition script for a voiceover for Fallout 4, and it was definitely Fallout 4 because it had the
Started with the war thing.
yeah war never changes. Yeah, it teased that. There are some people that think that's not real, but you know, the only people who would have released that and given that to Kotaku would have been either Bethesda themselves and their PR team, or a voice actor who auditioned for the part. Because it wouldn't have just been found by someone randomly. Because if it was just you or me that found that script, we wouldn't have given it to Kotaku. It would have been all on social media. We would have put it on Twitter. We would have put it on Tumblr. It would have been on all these things before it would have been in like an official hand of someone. So I think it's a real announcement in a way.
Well, when you think about it, why wouldn't they make a Fallout 4?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think that they definitely are. I mean, I think Bethesda's sort of project run is Elder Scrolls game, Fallout, Elder Scrolls game, Fallout,
Yeah.
and I think hopefully that'll continue.
I think everyone's just happy with that. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not mad about that. It's a good system. I think.
I mean, they publish other games as well. I mean, Dishonored was published by them. It wasn't made by them, but it was published by them, and they will continue to do that, no doubt. But primarily, their main focuses are Elder Scrolls, Fallout, unless they do something else.
Dishonored, was that a good game? Because it looks really good. I never played it.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, I've not played it either. I'd like to get it. I want to get my hands on the Game of the Year edition. But
It's quite fun. It's quite
oh,
fun.
there you go.
I don't like it that much, but I have a couple of friends who really like it.
Yeah, it did well. It did well, and it's nice to see a AAA game that's different. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks a bit like Thief to me.
Yeah, Thief's great.
Do you play Thief?
I haven't played the new one. I really wanna get it.
Yeah, I want to get the new one as well.
I've heard there are like little annoying things about it, like
Yeah.
just like tech things like loading and stuff like that. But I've heard it overall it's just a decent fun game. Like
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's kind of about it really. What I've been playing. I've also played obviously because last Friday, Final Fantasy X HD Remastered came out, so I've been playing through that, and I've been live streaming that on Twitch as well. So yeah, enjoying that again,
wish I
feeling
had
that
PS3.
nostalgia.
Shadow PS3.
Yeah.
Just for that and Kingdom Hearts remake.
Yeah. Yeah. But no,
They're not releasing it on PS4.
I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying that.
Good.
Yeah. So that's it really, I suppose.
For
Which
that.
I suppose moves us nicely and swiftly on to our next topic of discussion. Bloody hell, we've talking about what we've been playing for nearly 50 minutes now. A lot longer than expected, but that's no problem at all. So now we're going to be talking about topics of discussion, big sort of news topics that are happening this week, and what I've kind of suggested, if you guys are cool with that, is talk about the Elder Scrolls Online, which is coming out very, very soon, in the next couple of weeks. Just sort of discussing that, thoughts and feelings on that, and obviously GDC was this week, so Sony had a massive announcement, so we can talk about that as well. What do you guys want to talk about first?
Ooh,
I'm talking about Skyrim first. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online first.
Can do, yeah, of course.
sounds good. Good.
Cool. Okay, so myself and Nick have been lucky enough to play the beta of the Elder Scrolls Online. So you've got two people's opinions, I suppose, on that.
And then you got me in the background,
And
like,
then
yes.
we've got Ashton, who knows fuck all because he's an idiot. Uh, but I mean, I don't know. I suppose I kind of want to direct the first half of this at Ashton first, because I suppose you will be speaking for the majority in a way. I suppose because Nick and I have been lucky enough to play the beta. We know what the game's like, and we've kind of got a good idea of what it's going to be like on launch. I mean, have you been following the Elder Scrolls Online at all, Ashton?
Drips and drabs, kind of like looking forward to it, but not like going in depth. Really, I haven't.
Yeah.
I've looked at gameplays and things, but I don't really know that much about it. So it'd be good to hear from you guys.
I mean,
What-
are you? I suppose it really boils down to the like how people are going to look at the Elder Scrolls Online and how I've looked at it. And I think how you've looked at it, Nick, and I don't know if it's how you've looked at it, Ashton. But it boils down to MMO fans and Elder Scrolls fans and getting the best of both worlds. I mean,
Yeah.
how are you looking at the Elder Scrolls Online primarily? Are you looking at it as an MMO fan? I mean, have you played many MMOs, or are you looking at it as an Elder Scrolls fan?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I like both, but at the same time, I don't know how it's gonna mix because like I love the idea that in say because my closest comparison is Skyrim.
Yeah.
I love the idea of you being the main character, but of course in an MMO,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't do that. You're not the main
Well,
character.
I
It's
mean,
just another pawn, I guess.
I personally was surprised by the way they deal with that because obviously Skyrim, for example, you're the Dragonborn, you're Dovahkiin, you
Yeah.
are the hero. You are undoubtedly the biggest guy there. You know, you're the only person that can solve Skyrim's problems. You're the special one. But obviously, yeah, again, it's a bit difficult to feel that when you're the special one along with millions of other people. But I think the way it's done in the Elder Scrolls Online, they've done it pretty well. I did feel special. Special.
So
Aw.
how did you feel special? That's what I want to know. Just what in the game makes you the cool warrior or whatever?
Nick, do you want to take that or?
Yeah, sure. What's the question? How do you feel? How does the Elder Scrolls Online make you feel special as a player?
How does it make you feel important to the main storyline and the world? Because obviously in Skyrim you change the world, in a sense.
I didn't focus that much on the story, but like it felt it was more gripping than a standard MMO storyline. So that's why I felt it was more important because a storyline is what makes you feel like you are of importance. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's what it has. Unlike Warcraft, which does have a storyline, but it's just bland because there's no voice acting. So this just felt a lot more gripping. And
Okay.
yeah,
That's good to hear that at least there's some sort of base behind it instead of just like random quests.
I mean,
Yeah,
what I think, and I'll compare this to World of Warcraft, only because it's what every MMO is compared to anyway, and it's a MMO that I played for about 5 years on and off, and I've had a lot of experience with World of Warcraft, but where World of Warcraft kind of differs, and I only really properly started, I suppose, taking interest in storyline when I started playing the Burning Crusade expansion, because I suppose it was something new that I could really get involved with. But in that, it's basically you go up to a new section or a new part of the game where you speak to this important NPC person. Excuse me, sorry. Burped again. And they're basically like, adventurer, or welcome to the army, another soldier. You know, you don't you just feel like I'm
Another
important.
soldier.
I'm maybe like an elite soldier. I'm a special soldier, but I'm a soldier. But whereas I think how the I personally think how the Elder Scrolls Online deals with it, it's made a lot better with the voice acting because every NPC in the game, every NPC in the game is fully voice acted. I
So good, yeah.
just want to point that out there. But you feel like you're directly being spoken to, which helps with obviously the voice acting because someone's actually talking to you, which is nice. But you feel important in that you're not called another adventurer. You're you're directly um, you're directly engaged with. I suppose and you make kind of personal friends, I suppose, with NPCs or certain NPCs, and it feels like it's just you and me, buddy, huh? And it you're also called the chosen one,
Yeah.
essentially, but you do the way you're made to feel. You do feel like although it's you and millions of other people in the world, you do feel like it's just you that's important.
Mm. Here's a question that I've been meaning to ask. Because like you go on an MMO, it's kind of like you go to a place and it's it's the same place for everyone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then in like a Skyrim or Oblivion, you go to a city and you kill the majority of the city, and then next time you come back, everyone's gonna hate you. Kind
Yeah.
of thing. Is it the same here? So like you go to somewhere and people don't like you if you do something wrong, or is it still the same? It's the same for everyone.
It is and it isn't. It is in. Oh, sorry. I'll start with it isn't. It isn't in a sense that it's an MMO. There's obviously certain things that it can't do, but you can't. You've got to expect that. Whether it's an you can't just say, oh well, it's not like Elder Scrolls then if you can't do that. It's got to be to a degree, and it's got to be like an MMO to a degree. You can't just go into like a town and kill everyone, and everybody be cool, because you've got millions of other players, millions of other people, that are doing the same sort of thing. And if they go there and you've killed an NPC and that NPC's dead forever, well, that's going to fuck a lot of people off.
Yeah.
So it's something that just can't be done. I don't think. But in this MMO, as there is in every MMO, you've got reputation, and you have reputation with factions, different people, different races, that sort of thing. And obviously, the more quests you do for that faction or that group of people, the more they'll like you, the more they'll trust you, the more you'll get good standing relationship with them. But obviously you get a bad reputation with the enemy. It's not as fully it's very MMO in that sense, because obviously if you're fighting a bunch of evil pirates, of course you're going to have bad reputation because you're the good guy. You're not ever going to have good reputation with them because they'll always be the enemy. So it is and it isn't in a way, but it's more like an MMO in that sense of reputation and the way people look at you than it is like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. I suppose it isn't the game after Skyrim. It's not that. It's
No.
Elder Scrolls. It's just the same place in a different game kind of thing.
It's even set in a different time as well. It's not set after Skyrim.
Okay, so when is it set? What's the?
I don't quote me on this, and I'll probably get, if anyone's watching, load of nerd rage saying, "Oh, you're wrong." But it's set before Skyrim. It's set before Oblivion, I believe, and I think it's set before Morrowind. It's either set before or after Morrowind. I'm not sure how it is with regards to Daggerfall and Arena, the first two Elder Scrolls games.
Didn't even know they were there.
Oh god, yeah, yeah. There's been a few Elder Scrolls games, not all of them being amazing, but anyway. Um, but yeah, it's basically because it's got its own sort of storyline, and a lot of things that are different, and yeah, it's set in its own part of the Elder Scrolls history. It's all canon. It's all canon lore. It's all proper lore. It's just set in a different time. So
Yeah, good game.
yeah. So it's kind of similar, really. I think every Elder Scrolls game's different in a way, because obviously it's set. They don't follow on from each other. They do in with regards to lore, but they're not direct sequels in a sense, if you know what I mean, to each other.
Like it's just like the physics, effectively. The physics the same.
Yeah, I mean, because basically, I guess it kind of runs down to how you play the game and the lore. One thing I loved, because obviously Oblivion was my first Elder Scrolls game, love that game to pieces. Skyrim is set 100 or a couple of hundred years after Oblivion, and it's really nice for me to see anyway, having played Oblivion. If I go about Skyrim, I find a book on the Oblivion crisis, and I read that and read all the things that happened in that, and
really
how
like that.
how this one hero stopped the Oblivion crisis from happening, and is it Joffrey? Can't remember his name. The main NPC that you were having to rescue and who became the king in the end and then died and stuff. But it's nice to read all that and think, I was there, I did that.
Yeah.
Or even from a roleplay point of view, because I like to roleplay in those games, and I think, yeah, my great-great-grandfather did that, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I like that.
Great game.
Yeah, good. It's a lot like it is a lot like the other Elder Scrolls games. Like,
Yeah.
gives you the feeling that you're in an Elder Scrolls game. Good.
But one thing I loved and definitely gave it that feel of an Elder Scrolls game, and this is kind of something that I suppose is a really tiny, insignificant detail, but again, something that an Elder Scrolls fan like myself might bring up and might say, well, this makes it feel that little bit more like an Elder Scrolls game, and that's the fact that when in Skyrim, you go into a house, you can look into a crate, you can take a book off the shelf and read it, you can pick up an onion that's on a table. You can do that in the Elder Scrolls Online. You can't interact with everything, but there's a lot of things you can interact with.
Yeah.
You can look into a crate and pick up some wheat. You can find random books lying around the game, pick them up and read them like you can in Skyrim.
But then, do you have to put them down?
Yeah, you don't, like, for books, for example, I think, well, I don't know, actually, I'm not sure, I can't remember. You either put them back down after you've read them, or you kind of store them, but obviously they will respawn for other players.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
But things like wheat, like consumable items, like onions or whatever, you will pick up, and you'll be able to use them.
Well, greatest tool, onions.
Sorry?
Onions, they're the greatest thing about
onions. Onions are phenomenal. It's what makes the Elder Scrolls Online the Elder Scrolls Online,
exactly.
I think. But even beyond that, the combat, the gameplay feels like an Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, never been a fan of combat in MMOs until this.
Yeah, it's something different, which I think is enough, because I for one think that MMOs have been screaming out for something new.
I'm so tired of the hotkeys.
Yeah, so tired of auto-targeting hotbar battle systems, and this does something one better, because it's an actual.
Yeah.
If you're, because it's just like the Elder Scrolls combat. It's just like Skyrim combat.
Yeah, if you played any of the earlier BioWare games, the combat's a bit like that, and I really like that. It's good.
Yeah.
The Old Republic and
basically, if you're crosshair, because obviously you get a crosshair, because it's like the Elder Scrolls Online, or it's like Skyrim rather. If your crosshair's not on the enemy, and you swing your sword, you won't do any damage, because you've not hit the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
And same with spells as well. If you're a mage and you're casting a fireball or something, if that crosshair's not on the target, you won't hit it.
Yeah.
It will just go straight past it. Which really makes it interesting. And you can just imagine how interesting PvP is going to be in the Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, so different from anything else. But yeah, it stays true to the Elder Scrolls.
Definitely.
Oh.
But I suppose the main question is it going to be successful?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be as successful as sort of Skyrim or Fallout, just because it's an MMO and it's just there's going to be the bug, there's going to be things that like crash and because of the servers and all these things, and it's going to be those little things are just going to be annoying, and not everyone has like an internet connection continuously kind of thing, so no one's going to be able to play online continuously.
I don't think it's as bad as some MMOs on the market. I've not got a brilliant. I've got a Mac, and they're not great, especially with regards to gaming. And one thing that I think's phenomenal, and I love them for, is that this game's available on Mac, which more games need to be. But I've not got like a high-end gaming computer. It's a laptop. But the fact that I can run and play the Elder Scrolls Online, I can't run it at ultra-high graphics. But even on medium settings, even on high settings, it still looks beautiful. It still looks great. The connection's still really good. So it can be played on, I suppose, fairly average PCs and Macs.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm surprised you were able to.
Yeah, no, I was as well. I mean,
your gameplay videos actually look really nice as well, like how they've come out.
And that was being played on medium difficulty. Medium graphical quality. Obviously, there was a little bit of lag, but that was due to the video software, not the actual game. The game doesn't lag when I play it, so.
Yeah, that's really, really impressive.
Yeah, no, it is. I was really impressed.
So it's also coming out on what is it? The Xbox One,
PS4 and Xbox One, yeah. Which is definitely, if you can't afford a high-end PC, I know obviously if you've got the current generation of consoles, and by current generation of consoles I do mean the PS4 and Xbox One, if you've got those at the moment, great, well done. But if you've not, it's definitely going to cost you a lot less than buying a high-end gaming PC.
I think that's going to help out quite a lot that they've released it on PS4 and Xbox.
I think more MMOs should do that. I think more MMOs need to do that because it really expands its consumer base, you know?
Yeah, it just has to have a good port, because the port from Windows to 360 for Final Fantasy XI was absolutely terrible because it still thought it was like a PC game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked.
that game was still better off playing with a PC and mouse.
Yeah.
Keyboard and mouse.
But Elder Scrolls, I think they've got it under control. I think they'll do fine with it.
Definitely, I think they will.
I think it's gonna... Sorry.
No, carry on.
I still think it's going to go free to play at some point. If it takes a year.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, which I'll go into in one sec after because I found this out fairly recently, or heard about it fairly recently on another podcast or something else that I watched on YouTube. But before I say that, if you don't mind, I think the console port of this game will be fine because it plays so much like an Elder Scrolls game. Anyway, it's not going to be so far different at all.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a very comfortable port. And one thing which I think is good, the fact that it's going to be on consoles, is that I'm going to want to get it when I get a PS4. That's the version I want to play when I can afford it. That's the version I will play.
I feel like a lot of PC gamers who like Elder Scrolls on PC won't like it because there isn't going to be any modding capabilities at all.
I don't think there's going to be any modding capabilities at all anyway, because generally in MMOs modding capabilities aren't allowed.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
I think. Elder Scrolls fans for PC aren't going to like it as much.
Yeah.
Because it's quite big. It's quite a big sort of community online.
But that's where it's different. It's gonna be what people want out of it. If you're gonna play it, you're gonna expect to play an MMO that feels like Elder Scrolls. If you want to play an Elder Scrolls game that you can mod and do stuff with, then it's going to be Skyrim for you. You know, that's the thing. But I think it's going to be very accessible to everyone because I can't. Nick, you might be all right. I'm not sure. Ashton, I don't know about you, but I can't afford to buy a gaming PC.
Yeah.
I can't, and I would like a high-end gaming PC. I don't need a high-end gaming PC to play the Elder Scrolls Online, but I'd like one. So my next better option is, and an option that I feel more comfortable doing because I'd rather play it sitting on my couch, is the console version of the game.
I suppose the console version is just easier. Everything about it is just easier.
Definitely. But moving on to what I said I was going to talk about with regards to the pay-to-play, because obviously it's a pay-to-play MMO. A lot of people are very wary about pay-to-play MMOs at the moment because not everyone's got enough money. It was all right back in the day when World of Warcraft was new. It was kind of standard. But now we've got so many good free-to-play MMOs out, like Guild Wars 2 has done very well on the free-to-play market.
Yep.
It's kind of a bit... Everyone's a bit, oh, you're going pay-to-play, are you? Oh, okay. There are many reasons why developers do that initially, and obviously the Star Wars: The Old Republic wasn't a great example of that, but it might have been initially the reason they did it, because obviously 8 months down the line or so, it had to go free to play because it was losing subscribers.
Yeah.
So it had to do that to save itself. So that was, I guess, different circumstances. But most MMOs go pay-to-play initially for the first 18 months or so.
Free-to-play. Sorry.
But they go pay-to-play for the first 18 months or so before they choose to do a pay-to-play model. Free-to-play model.
Yeah.
And that's because, so I've heard, is that it takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort to make an MMO. I mean, when did Bethesda or ZeniMax Online announce the Elder Scrolls Online? What was it, 2012?
Yeah. Obviously, it'd been in development before that.
Exactly. But that was the first we'd heard of it. But
Yeah.
the Elder Scrolls Online has probably been in development for years. Probably since, say, 2006. For years and years it's been in development, because MMOs take so much time, so much effort to produce, and so much money. So sometimes what these game developers do is they release the MMO, and it's a pay-to-play model for, say, the first 18 months, in hope that through paid subscriptions and through game sales and everything else, that they make some of their money back.
Yeah.
They make a little bit of revenue from it back, and then after that they think, okay, well, we've kind of made our target money, we'll now go free to play, but we'll have an online store and we'll make more money from doing expansions and things like that, because that's the thing as well. MMOs are a constant running thing. They constantly need patching, they constantly need people working on them and a team developing them. Production on MMO does not stop until they decide to stop the game.
Yeah.
Basically. So that's one reason why some developers choose a pay-to-play model.
Yeah. Fair enough. Thing is,
So if it does do what you say and does go free to play at some point, then that will just make it much more accessible for everyone.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it probably will spike in. It will have a massive subscription base to start with, indefinitely, because it's new and exciting. Maybe after 6-8 months, some of those subscribers might go down, either because they're a little bit bored of the game, which I think is going to take a while, because I think there's so much to do in the game, but they might get bored of paying for it. And eventually, when it goes free to play, they'll probably increase subscribers.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I do like it when the MMO first comes out and everyone's all in the same boat.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's a question: the Xbox One and the PS4 versions of them, do you have to pay like another charge as well as say PS Plus or the
Yeah,
Xbox Live.
yeah.
Yes, presumably you will actually.
Really?
So yeah, no, I see what you're saying there. It probably cost you more money in the long run, I suppose, by having console versions. Yeah.
But then also with by paying for like gold or something, you are paying for all the other games as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if
No,
play
you are.
online.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean that. I don't know. Is everyone anything else you want to say or mention about the Elder Scrolls Online? I suppose. Because I mean, I suppose a lot of things have already been said anyway, and a lot of people already know about it with the amount of stuff that you can find on YouTube and whatnot.
I just
But
want to say, let's just hope that they keep making other single-player Elder Scrolls games as well.
definitely, definitely, I don't see any reason for them not to, if I'm honest. And if they turn around and say, well, if you want to play more Elder Scrolls games, go play the Elder Scrolls Online. I think if Bethesda turn around and said that, that's a pretty fucking poor excuse. That's a really shitty thing to say, because obviously Elder Scrolls Online doesn't just involve a continent like Skyrim or Cyrodiil or Morrowind. It involves the entirety of Tamriel. So you've got places that you've not seen in an Elder Scrolls game yet. You've got Valenwood, you've got Elsewhere, you've got the Somerset Isles, you've got other places that I don't know the name of in Tamriel that you can go and find and explore, which is brilliant. And it's the first time it's ever happened, and it's very, very exciting because I've always wanted to see where the Wood Elves come from and the Khajiit and everything else. But I don't think that's an excuse for them not to make Elder Scrolls 6 Elsewhere, because my argument is, well, there's so much lore. There's so many more stories to tell. There's so many more things you can do in this universe. Why the fuck aren't we getting a 6th Elder Scrolls game?
And there's so many different places in time that you can carry on, 'cause
Exactly.
You did say that this is before Skyrim and Oblivion, right?
Yeah,
So
I think so,
you
yeah.
go after all that kind of stuff, so
Yeah.
much more you can do.
There's so... again, it's just the fact... The argument is there's so much lore. So that will involve, you can set it during any time era, any time in the history, or any point forward in time, making new history for the game. You know, yeah. There's no reason.
I think it would be great if, like, for a DLC or something, they would release where you could go to Oblivion. That'd be like not the world of not Cyrodiil, but like actual the Oblivion world. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
that'd
that's
be
true.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That would be cool. But I suppose that's where the modding community comes in a little bit. But yeah. But yeah, no, I think I hope. I don't think they will, because I don't think Bethesda are like that. They're not EA, shall we say. I don't think they would turn round after Fallout 4's done and people are saying, so are you going to make Elder Scrolls 6? I don't think they're going to turn around and say, no, if you want to play Elder Scrolls, then you should play the Elder Scrolls Online. That's going on that the Elder Scrolls Online is very successful. But no, I don't think they will turn around and say that. I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Overall, looking forward to it. When's it out?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Overall, I'm looking forward to it. Seeing gameplay and stuff.
Yeah.
When's it out? April 4th?
April 4th, yeah. But we'll talk about releases a little bit later on. Okay, so, well, I suppose let's quickly get on to our next topic of discussion, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Right. Well, GDC, of course, was this week. If you guys know what GDC is, or if you don't, it's the Game Developers Conference that happens every year around this time. I'm not sure where it is. It's either San Francisco or somewhere that's not San Francisco at all. It's somewhere in America. But yes, GDC was this week. It's the Game Developers Conference. It's not massively generally open to. It's not a conference or a expo like E3 is. But basically, it's a massive thing where game developers from all around everywhere come together. They show off new tech, new ideas. The conferences go on where they talk about different ways in which to develop games, how to write good stories, and all sorts of business like that. And it's also a chance for some developers, even indie developers, to have big announcements. And I suppose one of the biggest announcements that we had at GDC this week was from the Sony camp, in that they are developing a virtual reality software. And we saw the headset. It looks very, very futuristic, very, very sleek.
Yeah.
As of yet, we don't have a release window, which is no surprise. But it's something that, if it's successful and they can do it well, and it doesn't just rely on Sony. This also relies on developers, but we'll talk about that. But this is something Sony hope to bundle in with the PS4 at some point in the future, as a thing, like say Kinect or Move is.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we'll do that, yeah.
Obviously we've had things like the Oculus Rift be a thing, or be in development for a number of years now, and it's probably the biggest and most exciting look at virtual reality we've had and the future of games, I suppose. And now, obviously, a lot of people believe in it. Sony, one of the biggest gaming companies, believe in it, and they're developing for it. What do you guys think about virtual reality software and how that's going to be? Do you think it's going to change the future of gaming, or do you think it's just another fad, maybe like 3D was, or isn't proving to be anymore, especially with the Nintendo 3DS? Because I thought that was just going to be a fad. Turns out it's still alive. So I was wrong. What do you guys feel?
Nick, you go first.
Oh.
Yeah, Nick, go first.
All right. Well, I hope it's good. I hope it's good because, like, I haven't been blown away by a game in a long time. I think the first time I was blown away by games is when I first played a PlayStation 1. Got a PlayStation
Boom.
1, games like Rayman and stuff. Then it was probably, I wouldn't even say I was blown away by the PS2. It was not until the 360 came out and I saw Gears of War being played.
Yeah.
And then I was absolutely blown away by that game.
Yeah, I was as well. That was one of the reasons I wanted a 360 as well at the time, was Gears of War.
Yeah, and it was just incredible. That and Oblivion.
Yeah.
60 and just gave gaming a new lease of life.
Yeah,
Like,
that was it for me as well. It was Oblivion and Gears of War.
I just don't think I've been blown away in that sort of way for a long time since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice to get that feeling again, like seeing something completely new.
Yeah, I mean, especially now with I mean, it's slightly off topic, but slightly on topic. With what we see with gameplay trailer or game trailers now, what do we rarely, very, very rarely see gameplay trailers anymore. We very rarely see what the game's actually going to look like and how it's actually going to play. We just see these massive, big budget CGI trailers.
I don't like that because, like, you see them first and you get really excited
Hyped for it. Yeah.
You see gameplay and it's a bit lackluster. It's a bit.
Yeah. I don't get me wrong. I love cinematic trailers. I love CGI trailers, and they look brilliant. But I want to see gameplay trailers as well. I want to see how the game's going to play when I play it. And that's something that's kind of been a little bit lack of recent years in gaming. But yeah, it's something that I suppose you're not blown away by ever. And hopefully virtual reality, I mean, do you think it's going to be...
I really think it could be.
Definitely.
It's going to be a big step, I reckon. People, since the Oculus Rift started, kind of thing. I mean, everyone's been hyping about it, and now a huge company, Sony, is interested. It's gonna get everyone going for it, and I reckon Microsoft will go.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I think a couple of days after they announced they were looking into it.
Really?
I mean, whether that's true or not, or they're just saying it to try and stay relevant, I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me if Microsoft were like, did you just hear, guys? Sony are doing a virtual reality. What? No! We need to say that we're doing it as well, but we're not. I know, but it doesn't matter. The fans don't know. But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think it could take off. And as you've said, Ashton, now that a big company like Sony is interested in it and they're developing something for it, I definitely think that's going to bring a bit more interest into it. Because the problem is in gaming, especially I think this is last gen, we really saw this with developers. There's not enough developers, not enough publishers taking bigger risks in gaming.
Yeah.
Hence why we've had so many samey games. Hence why we've had so many Call of Duty clones and things like that, because it's what sells, it's what's popular, it's what makes the most money. You know, people aren't willing to take a risk, and that's where I think indie games have really flourished.
I think it's new games that need to do it, because
Yeah.
like I said, Gears of War was a new game.
Yeah, there's a new IP. There's not enough new IPs going on that are taking a risk. And if there are new IPs, well, we've kind of played that before, but it's been called Call of Duty, or it's been called something else. But I definitely think now that Sony's interested in it, hopefully more developers will be like, okay, well, this is definitely a viable option for our company to develop a all virtual reality game.
Yeah.
It should be so interesting. I think what they're going to do is Sony, they're going to introduce it into the PlayStation Move as well.
Yeah.
They're going to combine the two. So if it's a first-person shooter, the analog, the Move controller, whatever it's called.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever saw, if you've ever seen some of the Oculus Rift sort of promotion stuff. But one thing that gets me very excited and makes me hope for the future of virtual reality gaming is when they did Oculus Rift Skyrim.
Yes, I saw that.
A game like that has got so much potential and can do so well in virtual reality. It's unbelievable. Walking about Skyrim yourself, you move your head, you look in that direction. You know, you swing your arm, you're attacking someone with your sword. That is brilliant to me. But it needs developers' interest. It needs developers to take a risk and want to go for it.
Yeah, I think it needs to be affordable as well.
Indefinitely. But this kind of goes back to, I suppose, the Kinect. In a way, how unsuccessful the Kinect was initially.
I think it was because it focused on a lot of sort of family type games.
Yeah.
Family instead of like a more of a less casual gamer.
But the thing is as well, the Kinect.
You're right.
I think it's improved a little bit now with Kinect 2 for the Xbox One. Yeah. But the Kinect wasn't properly developed. It was a pile of shite. The first Kinect was awful. I mean, we look at games like Steel Battalion. Do you guys know about Steel Battalion?
No.
It was one of the first games that looked very promising for hardcore gamers with regards to Kinect. And it was a game where you were in this big tank and you were using Kinect control, so you were moving your arms up and down to press buttons and do things like this, but it didn't work. The game was fucking broken as shit. The game didn't respond to any movements, any of the set movements that you have to do with Kinect. It didn't do anything. It was awful. And obviously, it was games like that drew developers off Kinect. Will think, well, we're not going to develop for it because it's obviously a broken system. No one's going to buy it because of what's been done before. Let's just make a game where you use a controller.
Yeah, and on the internet at the same time, the internet wasn't fussed about Kinect at all. If they were talking about Kinect, it was in a bad way. Whereas Oculus Rift, you go on like Reddit or 4chan, you see posts about Oculus Rift all the time. On the game.
And it's something different. I mean, when I saw, even I felt the same with PlayStation Move. I thought it's just Sony and Microsoft. Couple of years later, trying to jump on the Wii bandwagon.
Yeah.
What made Wii successful? One of the things was its motion control. It was something new, something different, something cool, and it was done rather well. It wasn't done brilliantly to begin with, but they stuck with it, and obviously it was a main feature of the Wii, so it couldn't go anywhere. It couldn't disappear like the Kinect could. And, you know, you play later games for the Wii, they're phenomenal. They're brilliant. I mean, they've gone less with the faddy controls, and it's worked.
Some of the first games for the Wii, though, that were more polished were really good. Like
God, yeah, definitely.
That came out, Mario Kart, Smash Bros.
Definitely. Really. But yeah, I mean, that's how I saw Kinect and PlayStation Move. But obviously Microsoft are still going with it. Obviously bundling Kinect with the Xbox One, which now they're not doing anymore, which I think is a shame for a lot of people that bought Xbox One on release, because they've spent $100 extra than they should have done, or pounds extra than they should have done. But anyway.
Yeah, I see.
But yeah, no, I hope it's not going to be a fad. I hope people take the risk with it, and I suppose we'll see what happens in the future with it.
Yeah,
I
looking
definitely
forward
think it's
to
got
it.
potential.
Hope it works.
Hope so.
Definitely.
Yeah, hope it works well.
I mean, what do you think will make it successful, or what sort of games do you think should be developed for it that will make
Well,
it good?
I don't know really. I think games developed for it. I don't really mind about that. Like, but I just want it to work with just your normal game, your normal first person game. I just want it to work.
Yeah.
So it's like the Oculus Rift. It works with Skyrim, things like that. It's got that capability to just like attach onto a game
Yeah.
and work with it. So I wouldn't really mind seeing a game that works for it. I mean, it may be good to see, but I'm just looking forward to being able to jump into my favorite game.
Yeah. Literally,
that
literally jump into it. Yeah. I mean, I personally think, and it's personally going to interest me more, just because it's me and that's the way I feel about it. But I mean, I think it can be very successful with a lot of genres of games, but I think it's going to be most successful and most interesting to me personally with big open world games, big open world RPGs and games like that. So games like Skyrim, I think it's going to work phenomenally for. Games like even games like Minecraft. Can you imagine that?
Definitely, yeah, that would be very good actually.
You know, so
I don't think it's going to. It will be interesting, but it won't be great for first-person shooters, just because they're so fast-paced.
yeah,
And it's not the technology isn't going to be good enough to keep up with everyone else's just normal controller.
yeah.
And
I mean,
so
I think it could work very well with first-person shooters. It just needs to be done correctly.
it just needs time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs time to develop and be, appropriate. It needs to be to the point where you could play the game and play it with many different outcomes. So if you wanted to play that game, guns blazing, just running in, shooting everything down, then you can, and you can be successful in it as long as you're good. Or you can play it taking your time, being very strategic, duck and cover, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it just needs to hold up with the sort of capabilities of the controller. It needs to be as consistent and as responsive as that.
Definitely, yeah.
I think if Microsoft were to try it, it could be very interesting to go with the Kinect, actually. Because if they get it right, if they have the virtual headset with the Kinect, you won't have to have a controller to hold on to.
Yeah.
And it'll
I think that might be the point of the virtual reality, though. I don't know. I'm not. To me, that's what I think it should be. Even if it's to the point, yeah. I mean, obviously, it'd work very well with something like Kinect, because Kinect scans your body, as well as giving all your information to the government. It scans your body and recognizes you moving your arm to the right or to the left or whatever. So with regard to that, yes, it would work. But I think even if you just had to maybe say stick a motion sensor to yourself, or I don't know, or put on a glove or something, like, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I hope that the point of it is that we don't need a controller, because you are the controller. You are to me, virtual reality. If you were to have the headset on and you were looking around and everything was great and looked amazing, that's awesome. But you're kind of brought back out of that and think, yeah, I am just sort of sitting at my sofa playing a game because I'm holding a controller. To me, the whole point of it would be that you are, controlling it.
You're inside the game.
Yeah, literally, yeah. The future of gaming.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we might find more out about it at E3 this year, or in at future conferences. We'll see what happens of it.
Yeah.
But hopefully something good will come of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Indeed. So, if you guys are done with those topics,
Yeah.
I suppose we'll finish up with April's releases, if that's all right.
Yeah.
See if you guys are at all interested or give a shit about anything that's
fact,
coming out next month.
A little
Sorry?
bit about March's releases as well, please. That also interests me. The close releases that we just had, the like Dark Souls 2 or Metal Gear Solid, or those kind of things. Are those interest anyone?
I've always been interested in Dark Souls, but
Yeah, I have as well, but I don't think I've ever had the balls to buy it and be able to play it.
Yeah.
What else has been released recently?
Metal Gear Ground Zero doesn't interest me, simply because you're paying £30 for an hour demo.
Yeah, it's like a game that can be completed really quick, isn't
really
it?
quickly, yeah. It's a fad that it's one of those marketing techniques that Japan think is good and successful. And the sad thing is, it's gonna sell because it's Metal Gear. So, although people will buy it and complain and say, well, it's ridiculous money for something that's not really a game, something that you could sell for free as a demo, or for £5 on PlayStation Network, say. They won't look at that. They'll be like, well, it sold really well, and more developers, so obviously Konami did this, so, people like Square Enix especially, Capcom especially, will think, oh, that was really good that Konami did, that was really successful, let's do that as well.
Yeah.
So obviously we've
Yeah,
had
so it
some
might- well,
worrying choices in Japan with regards to its game development and selling games that don't have endings. Final Fantasy 13 2, and selling the ending on DLC. Thanks, Square Enix. We really appreciated that. That's exactly what we wanted.
What other games? Infamous. That's a good one. The second son. Is anyone
Infamous
interested?
2. Funny thing is, because that came out last Friday with Final Fantasy 10, and when I went to the game store to get it, Final Fantasy 10, picked it up, and the guy over the counter said, "This is selling better than Infamous 2." And I turned around to him and I said, "Good, it should do. Damn straight." But yeah, that was surprising to me a little bit.
it's a bit surprising that HD remake is selling better than a new game. I mean,
Yeah,
it's Final Fantasy when they were like at the peak of Final Fantasy games.
arguably, people say.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no, I personally think it's the best one in the title in the franchise. But there's a lot of people that think that's when it went downhill. But I don't.
I'm a fanboy of 7.
You dirty 7 fanboy. But yeah, no, I don't know. I've the only kind of games at the moment, Ashton, that interest me that have been released this month are games again I can't afford. Like literally, Final Fantasy X is the only new game, and it's not even a new game because it's about £30 and not even full retail game price £40. That's the only sort of new game that I've bought in the last 2 years on release, believe it or not, because I can't afford shit. But the only thing that kind of really interests me and that I'd like to get is South Park: Stick of Truth.
Oh, I was just looking.
That's true.
I was just about to say that.
Indefinitely South Park: Stick of Truth, because I think Obsidian have done a phenomenal job.
Hilarious.
They're one of the best RPG or developers for RPGs anyway that the West say has got to offer. They're definitely up there in my opinion with Bethesda, and have been for years. I mean, they did Baldur's Gate.
Great game.
What else did they do? They did other stuff which was really good and notable in history of RPGs. But yeah, so no, I think the only thing that interests me is sort of South Park: Stick of Truth.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
So what's happening in April? What?
Well, Ashton, my dear fellow, let me tell you. And stop me at any point during it, guys, if you guys are interested in it at all. These aren't necessarily all the releases that are coming out. These are kind of a select few that I think are interesting. And I don't think all these include some of the slightly less known Steam indie titles, say, that are on release. But I'll go through them anyway. So these are kind of the big releases. We've got Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate on April 1st for PlayStation 3, 360, Wii U, and PC.
Wii U? Really?
Yep.
Is that the one that's like
The Wii U's
2.5D?
still around. Struggling for life.
So
Anyone?
Is that the one that's like 2.5D? It's like
What do you mean?
it's like 2D, but it's got 3D elements. It's sort of.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know much about it. I'm a big fan of the Arkham games. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, phenomenal games.
Only come out like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, or was it Batman Arkham Origins?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just Arkham Origins, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that came out the end of last year, didn't it? Or near the
Yeah.
end of last year. I wasn't that interested in it because it looked good, but I was kind of waiting for reviews and stuff, and it didn't do that well
Yeah.
because it was kind of real short release or development cycle, and but yeah. So I'm not personally interested in Blackgate. I'm not sure what Blackgate is. I don't know if it's another standalone title or if it's DLC. I don't know. I should know. Internet's crying out, "Oh, you don't even know! You're an idiot!" So, as well, on April 1st, another game coming out on April 1st is Ragnarok Odyssey Ace for PlayStation 3 and PS Vita.
Never heard of it.
Sorry, Nick.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Okay, well, Ragnarok Odyssey is an RPG. I think it's an MMO as well.
Oh.
But yeah, it's a Japanese RPG style game. I don't know much about it. I'm not that interested in the franchise personally, but that's coming out. Obviously, the biggest announcement, in my opinion, for next month, April 4th, coming out on PC and Mac, The Elder Scrolls Online. Anyone planning to get that on release?
Not on release because I can't afford to pay the subscription at the moment.
Yeah, neither can I, sadly.
Yeah.
Oh, being a student.
Yeah. Oh dear.
But yeah, that's coming out on PC and Mac.
Also, the day before that, we got Don Bradman cricket, full team. You know, big game.
For fuck's sake. Okay, Nick. Moving swiftly on. April 22nd, we have Demon Gaze for the Vita, another Vita title.
Yep.
I mean, I haven't got a Vita. Have you guys got Vitas?
No.
Oop.
I-
Really?
I'd like to get a Vita eventually. Maybe when I get a PS4, but we'll see. And then a big release from this month. As of April 25th, Dark Souls 2 will be available on PC. Anyone wanting to
Right,
pick that up on PC
PC
over
first.
console?
I prefer console personally, but I'm sure a lot of people would. A lot of people would want PC.
Yeah, Nick, you're kind of
I'll probably
You're-
get it when it goes on sale on Steam or something.
you're kind of in between, really, aren't you? A PC console gamer, really?
Yeah, I'm drifting away from console now. There's not
Yeah.
really that much to play on it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think. I mean, if I could afford to, I probably would as well go to PC gaming. 'Cause it is superior
Yeah.
in many ways. But I do like having consoles. I there's something I like about having a console, which I like.
Yeah, I do like the controller.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. April 8th, 2 games coming out for April 8th. We've got probably the biggest title over The Elder Scrolls Online coming out for this month, and I honestly believe it's going to be a phenomenal game. And if you guys haven't heard of it, shame on you. Connect Sports Rivals for the Xbox One.
I saw that earlier and I thought you'd be joking.
Oh no, I am not joking. This game is amazing.
This game, man.
This game will change gaming. And as well on April 8th, which will probably most likely indefinitely outsell that game on day one, is, well, supposedly, if it does actually come out and is not pushed forward again, is Titanfall for the Xbox 360.
Not true yet.
Anyone planning on... Because
Well,
obviously you guys are not getting Xbox Ones, and if you do, I will probably hunt you down and kill you. Hate the
would
internet,
probably
bring
do.
it on. But
Uh,
are you guys... Ashton, are you
I
interested?
don't have a Xbox.
Oh, you don't, do you? No, sorry.
No, on PS3. I'd love to play the game. It does look really good.
I would as well, yeah.
I'm afraid. I hope. I've read up a little bit about Titanfall because it looks really good, and the developer or whatever said specifically said, oh, it's for the first Titanfall game is going to be exclusive. And he said it, the first Titanfall game is going to be
Yeah.
exclusive. So I'm hoping
To Microsoft.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hoping fingers crossed that the second
Hopefully,
one
we'll see,
will
yeah.
release on PS4 as well.
Hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like the obviously I haven't got a PC, so I can't play Titanfall on PC. The 360 version would interest me. However, I refuse to give Microsoft any money, so I won't pay for their gold subscription. So I'm kind of stuck either way, unfortunately. So yeah, moving on. April
Magical
14th.
World.
Sorry.
Disney Magical World on the 11th for the 3DS. Big title. Huge.
Huge.
That's bigger than anything I've said so far. Moving on to April 14th, we've got Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn coming out for the PlayStation 4.
God. It's been such a long time.
Nope. I got no opinion on that one. I'm afraid.
Oh my god, I've totally skipped.
Don Bradman's cricket. Yeah, you did.
No, I've read my list wrong. I mentioned Demon Gaze, didn't I?
Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
And Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, those two games are coming after. As I've said, I said the date and I've gone back on myself.
Yeah, you went forward and back.
Yeah. And no one wanted to question that, or no, that's fine, guys. You carry on.
Let it roll.
You let me look like an idiot. It's fine. And then we've got on April 29th, we've got The Amazing Spider-Man 2 coming out for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U, 3DS, and PC.
Is that? I had no idea that there was a second Amazing Spider-Man 2 film coming out. Hadn't seen the first one.
How-
Wasn't interested in it.
Right, one, how have you not seen the first one? Shame on you, because
Because
it's phenomenal. And
I-
two, how have you not know about the second one?
I haven't been interested in Spider-Man since Tobey Maguire wasn't doing it.
It's better than Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
No
it is.
way.
Sorry.
Tobey Maguire was good, and I can't fault. It's a good trilogy, but
It's truly, yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man is better than all of it put together.
Ugh. I'm not that big into superheroes anyway, but
Fair enough. I mean, I'm not sure what this movie title game is going to be like, but I don't think it's going to be as good. And I think if you've played it, you can definitely agree. One of the best movie-titled games ever to be released, and was a Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation 2 and Xbox Original.
Such a good game.
That was a phenomenal game.
I miss it.
Great game. Anyway, right, and finishing up April's releases on the 30th of April is Child of Light
So good.
for the PlayStation 3, PS4,
So good.
Wii U, 360, Xbox One, and PC.
I might have to get it on release.
I've never heard of it.
It's an RPG, a bit of an indie RPG, but being released in a big budget way, I suppose, by Ubisoft. It's kind of, I don't know if you'd agree with me, Nick. It kind of looks in the same vein as a indie title like Bastion.
Yeah, it looks like Bastion and Broken Age.
Yeah.
Broken Age. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like those indie style games.
Yeah. It looks
but
really nice. The art
It's
style.
kind of being properly developed. It's not a AAA, but it's kind of being properly developed, if you know what I mean. by a
Yeah.
big company.
It looks really nice.
But it's an RPG. It's kind of it's, I think the developer called it his love letter to JRPGs. So it's a bit of a Western-made JRPG sort of game. It's kind of got a turn-based battle system, and it's a bit of a 2D side-scroller type game
Yeah,
as
but
well.
it looks really like sort of hand-drawn and just really nice.
Yeah, it's got a beautiful art style.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
different. Really
yeah,
different, the 2D.
obviously it's very story-driven as well. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. I'm not that interested in it.
Oh,
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I suppose we'll see how successful it is.
definitely gonna get it.
Well,
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know how that goes in the next podcast.
Yeah, please do. Let us know. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Right. So that is it, guys. I think for today's Undead Gaming Cast. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully we'll get some great feedback for the first ever episode of this podcast, and hopefully we'll carry on doing it. Obviously, as I said earlier, this is a monthly podcast that you'll be able to find on it will be going live at the end of every month generally, or near the end of every month, and you can find us on youtube.com/user/the Undead Gamer, which is my channel, as well as other awesome gaming channel stuff and let's plays and things. I'm just going to plug myself, screw you guys. And hopefully later on in the future you'll be able to find us on iTunes podcast section. If you just look for the Undead Gaming Cast, you should be able to find us, but more information will come as that comes. Guys, is there anywhere you want people to follow you or plug you on or anything like that?
I got nothing.
No Twitters or anything you guys want to...
I'm not on Twitter or anything.
Okay.
Really.
Maybe next podcast, if you're interested in these guys' opinions, then you can follow them and see what they like to do in their daily stuff. But anyway, that is it really, guys. Obviously, you can follow me and any updates on the podcast if you follow me on Twitter at the Undead Gamer, and if you search for me on Facebook, you can find me at the Undead Gamer, or the Undead Gamer rather, not the at, but yeah. So yeah, is there anything you guys are going to be up to that you think next month? Anything you guys are going to be carry on playing, do you think?
Oh, just powering through games, I guess. Hopefully, I think I'll probably get the first Dark Souls just because price-wise the second's going to be expensive.
Yeah. Well,
See
let us know how that goes.
Yeah. Fun.
Cool. Nick, have you got anything on the horizon of what you're going to be continuing on with or playing?
Gonna play Titanfall. I mean, I've got quite a busy time this next month, but yeah, I'm just gonna play Titanfall. Maybe get
Cool.
Child of Light.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. I myself am going to be carrying on with Fallout. Obviously, Fallout 3, I'm playing through that, and I've not got bored of it yet, so I'll be carrying on with that. As always, I'll be playing Fable original, or Fable Retro, as I call it, not the anniversary edition, for my Let's Play on my channel. And yes, I'll be continuing live streaming and putting on YouTube my playthrough of Final Fantasy X HD. So if you wanna join me on the live stream, then search on Twitch for the Undead Gamer. It's all pretty much the same. If you look for the Undead Gamer anywhere, you'll probably find me. So yeah, that's pretty much what I plan to do this next month.
Nice.
Cool. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, anytime.
Awesome. We'll have you back because you didn't urinate on the carpet and you didn't throw a tantrum, so we'll have you back.
I did a little bit.
Just in your excitement. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the first Undead Gaming Cast. Hopefully we'll see you guys next time. And if you guys have got any feedback or any responses, please let us know in the comments if you're listening on the YouTube or watching on the YouTube. Let us know in the comments, or you can always send me a private message on YouTube or whatever, the Undead Gamer, or even send me a mean tweet if you don't like Ashton's face or something. Whatever. That's absolutely fine. So yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Hope you enjoyed us rambling on about video games for the past 2 hours. And we'll catch you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.